Stop for a moment. Set everything down. Let the noise around you fall quiet, because I have been trying to get your attention. And today you finally slowed down long enough to hear me. This is not an accident. You were not wandering when you arrived here. I drew you to this moment myself, and what I am about to speak over you was prepared long before you knew you would need it. There is a nudge in your spirit. You have felt it for days. A stirring you could not name, a pull you could not explain, a sense that something was about to change. Do not ignore it. That nudge was me. I have been reaching for you in 100 quiet ways. The thought that came out of nowhere and would not leave. The sudden urge to pray when you had almost given up on praying. The restlessness that settled over your ordinary routine, as if your own life were whispering that there is more. None of that was random. All of it was my hand on your shoulder. You have wondered why heaven felt silent. Hear me now. I was never silent. I was speaking in a register your hurry could not receive, so I began to slow you down. I let certain plans stall and certain doors stick, not to frustrate you, but to turn your face toward mine, my child. A shepherd does not shout across the field when he wants one particular sheep. He walks toward it. He calls it by name. That is what this moment is. I am not addressing a crowd right now. I am speaking to you, one voice to one heart. Because what I have prepared has your name on it and no one else can claim it. Listen closely because I want you to understand why the timing matters. There are seasons when heaven moves quietly, and there are seasons when heaven moves suddenly. You are standing at the border between the two. The long, quiet stretch behind you was not emptiness. It was the drawing back of the bow, and an arrow flies farthest when the pull has been longest. You almost did not make it to this moment. I know that there were nights you thought about laying the whole thing down. The hope, the prayers, the believing. Something in you held on anyway. That something was not stubbornness. It was the thread of my spirit woven into you, and I never let it snap. So before I say anything else, I want to settle one question forever. You matter to me, not the polished version of you, not the person you pretend to be when others need you strong. You as you are today, tired and unsure and still listening. That is the one I came for. I know the questions you carry. Why has it taken so long? Why do others seem to move ahead while you wait? Why do the same battles keep circling back? I will answer those questions in this hour. But first, you must let go of one lie. The lie that says you were overlooked. You were never overlooked. You were being kept. There is a difference between being forgotten and being hidden. A treasure is not forgotten when it is buried. It is protected. I have kept you out of sight of certain people and certain opportunities, because if they had reached you too early, they would have ruined what I was building in you. What felt like rejection was often my shielding. Now the hiding is ending. I am lifting the cover, and I need you awake for it, because the things I do next will move quickly, and I do not want you to mistake them for coincidence. When the unexpected call comes, that is me. When the stranger speaks the exact words you prayed about in secret, that is me. When the stuck door swings open without your pushing, that is me. Do not let your mind wander now. The enemy would love nothing more than for you to drift away in the middle of this word, to remember some errand, to feel some sudden urge to be anywhere but here. Recognize that pull for what it is. Stay with me. The ones who receive everything I am releasing today are the ones who remain until the final word. I want you to breathe slowly as my voice reaches you. Let your shoulders come down from around your ears. You have been braced for bad news for so long that your body forgot how to receive good news. So receive it now. I am for you. I have always been for you. And the report I carry today is not warning but promise. Some who hear this will think it is too good to be true. My beloved, I understand that caution. Life has taught you to guard your hope the way a burned hand guards itself from fire. But I am not life's disappointments. I am the one who spoke light into darkness. And when I say a thing, the thing itself must bend to obey. So here at the very start, I ask for something simple. Not perfection, not a spotless record, just an open heart. The smallest crack in the wall you built. Faith the size of a seed is enough for me to work with. I have moved mountains with less. This day is a marked day. Long from now, you will look back and divide your story into what came before this word and what came after it. I do not say that lightly, and I do not say it to everyone. I say it to you because I see what is already in motion behind the veil, and it is good. Now lean in. What I show you next is the part of your story you were never able to see. The part that explains the tears, the delays, and the strange stubborn hope that would not die. It is time you knew what has really been happening. Let me tell you what I have witnessed. Because you have believed for years that your hardest hours went unseen. They did not. I was in the room every single time. I was there when you held yourself together in public and came apart the moment the door closed behind you. I heard the prayers that never made it into words. The ones that were only a long exhale and my name. I watched you get up on mornings when getting up was the bravest thing anyone did in that house. No one applauded. I noticed. I saw the betrayal too. I watched someone you trusted take your kindness and treat it as a thing to be spent. I heard the lies they told about you. And I saw how you bit your tongue instead of fighting back. You wondered if staying silent made you a fool. It did not. It kept your hands clean for what I am about to place in them. I know about the friend who vanished when your season turned hard. I know about the ones who should have shielded you and instead became the very source of the wound. You have replayed those moments 1,000 times asking what you did to deserve them. Stop asking. The failure was theirs, not yours. And I have not forgotten the account. There were nights you lay awake and asked whether your prayers were reaching anything at all, or just rising into an empty sky. I want to answer that question plainly. Every one of them arrived. Not one was lost in transit. Some are answered already. Some are held for the right hour. And some I answered differently because I could see the whole road. And you could see only the bend. You have also carried the ones you love. You have stood in the gap for people who never knew you were praying for them, lifting their names in the dark while carrying your own weight in silence. That kind of hidden faithfulness has a sound in heaven. It is not a small sound. My precious child, here is what you must understand about the years that hurt. I did not cause every wound you carry. Some came from the cruelty of others, some from a broken world, some from choices whose cost you could not have known. But I wasted none of it. There is a difference. I do not manufacture sorrow, yet I refuse to let sorrow have the final word in the story of anyone who is mine. Think of Joseph in the pit, then in the prison. His brothers meant it for evil. The betrayal was real evil, not disguised blessing. Yet I bent even that evil to serve my purpose until the day the prison door opened and the pit became a footnote. What others meant to bury you, I have been bending towards your good. The bending is almost complete. You learned things in those hidden years that no easy road could have taught you. You learned how to hear my voice when no other voice was kind. You learned who you are when no one is impressed with you. You learned that you can lose much and still stand. Do not despise that education. Kings have paid fortunes for less wisdom than you carried out of your worst season. And notice this, because it matters, you did not become cruel. Life gave you every excuse to harden, and you stayed soft where it counts. You still give. You still hope for others even when hoping for yourself feels risky. That softness is not weakness. It is the proof that the enemy failed to make you into his image. I also saw what you did with your doubts. You brought them to me instead of letting them drive you away from me. You argued with me some nights. That is fine. Jacob wrestled until daybreak and left with a limp and a blessing. I would rather have your honest wrestling than your polite distance. Now, here's something you have needed for a long time. You are not behind. The clock you measure yourself against was built by people who cannot see what I see. Abraham was old when the promise arrived. David waited years between the anointing and the throne. The timing of a promise belongs to the one who made it. And I have never once been late to my own appointments. Somewhere along the way, you started apologizing for your own existence. You shrink in rooms you were sent to fill. You call your dreams unrealistic and your needs too much. That ends today. I do not make apologetic creations. I made you on purpose with intention, the way a craftsman makes a tool for a task he already has in mind. Now let that belief stand up straight inside you, because I am about to show you the other side of your story. The side that was hidden behind the veil. You have only ever seen your life from the ground. For the next few moments, I am going to let you see it from where I sit. From where I sit, the delays were not denials. From where I sit, the closed doors were not insults, but detours around ruin you could not detect. From where I sit, the people who walked away created the vacancy that my chosen companions will soon fill. Nothing about your file reads like failure up here. It reads like the record of someone being trusted slowly and deliberately with much. And there is one more thing I witnessed that you should know about. Every time you were mistreated and chose not to repay it, every time you blessed someone who could do nothing for you, a record was kept. You thought those moments evaporated. They did not. They accumulated. And a stored-up record of hidden faithfulness always comes to payment in my kingdom with interest. Now I must expose something, because you cannot walk free while you still believe the report of your accuser. There has been a voice speaking against you for years. It sounds like your own thoughts, which is its cleverest trick. It arrives at your weakest hour, quotes your worst memories, and signs your name to its conclusions. Today I am putting that voice on trial. The accuser told you that you are a failure. I say you are a work in progress in the hands of a builder who has never abandoned a project. The accuser whispered that you are forgotten. I say your name is engraved where I cannot look without seeing it. The accuser said you are too damaged to be used. I say the vessels I use most were all mended ones, and the mended places are where my light passes through. The accuser told you that your best years are spent. I tell you the richest harvests come from fields that lay fallow the longest. He said, your mistakes disqualified you. I say my mercy wrote the final ruling on your record, and the verdict reads redeemed. He said you missed your one chance. I say I am the God of Peter on the beach, restoring in one morning what 3 denials had broken. He told you no one would ever truly choose you. I chose you, and I do not choose carelessly. He said, your prayers change nothing. I say kingdoms have quietly turned on the hinge of prayers smaller than yours. He announced that you will end your days unnoticed and unfinished. I decree that what I began in you, I will complete, and the finishing will not be quiet. Whose report will you believe? You cannot carry both. One voice leads to a shrinking life, the other to an open door. Choose the voice that made you. Choose it today, and every day after, until choosing it becomes the reflex of your heart. Understand why the accuser worked so hard on you. Liars do not spend years on worthless targets. He studied your calling before you ever sensed it, and everything he threw at you was measured against the size of what you carry. The fiercer the opposition, the greater the treasure it was sent to smother. You were not attacked because you are weak. You were attacked because of what your freedom will cost the darkness. Remember the widow at Zarephath. A handful of flour, a little oil, one last cake, and she gave it first to the man of God. The jar did not run dry, the jug did not fail. Not because the amount was great, but because the trust was. It has never been about the size of the hand that gives. It is about the direction the heart is facing when it opens. Let me return now to the voice you must silence, because there is one more of its lies to break, and it is the deepest one. The accuser has told you that you are alone in the fight, that everyone who matters eventually leaves, that you must hold everything up yourself because if you rest, it all collapses. This lie has driven you for years. It is why you cannot sleep some nights and cannot receive help on others. Hear the truth. You were never the only one holding your life together. My hand has been under the whole structure from the beginning. The nights you were sure everything would fall apart. And somehow morning came and it had not fallen. That was not luck holding the beams. That was me. So I give you permission to put down what was never yours to carry. The outcome, the timing, the opinions of people who judged you without knowing the road you walked. Lay them down the way a laborer lays down a sack at the end of the day. You will feel lighter within the week. and lightness is something you have not felt in a long time. There is a boldness that returns when the accuser is silenced. You will notice it soon. You will speak in rooms where you used to shrink. You will try again in areas where you had quietly given up. This is not a change in personality. It is the sound of your true self unburied. And when the old voice creeps back, because it will attempt a return, do not argue with it in your own strength. Answer it the way I answered in the wilderness, with what is written. It is written that nothing can separate you from my love. It is written that no weapon formed against you will prosper. It is written that the righteous fall 7 times and rise again. Put the sword in your mouth, and the liar will not stay to hear the end of the verse. You have lived under a false verdict long enough. Consider it overturned this day. The court of heaven does not echo the accusations of your past. It echoes the blood that answered them. Walk out of the cell. The door was unlocked the moment mercy spoke. And mercy has been speaking over you since before you knew to listen. Now, let me show you the architecture of your struggle. Because your battles have not been scattered at random, they have been concentrated at 3 doors. 3 areas of your life have stood locked while you knocked and pushed and wept on the threshold. Provision, companionship, purpose. I am going to speak to each one. And as I speak, hear the sound of iron giving way. The first locked door is provision. You have worked harder than most and held less than many, and the arithmetic of it has never made sense to you. Money arrived and evaporated. Opportunities ripened and then rotted a day before your hand could reach them. You began to suspect that something was set against you, and in this you were not imagining things. But here is what that lock could not do. It could not make you dishonest. You were squeezed for years and never once decided that cheating was the answer. It could not make you stingy either. Even in lack, you shared. Do you understand how rare that is? A person who stays generous while empty has passed a test that most who are full will never even sit for. That test is over. I am opening the door of provision, and I will open it in ways you did not engineer, so that you will know the hand behind it was mine. Watch for provision that arrives without your striving. Watch for the debt that shrinks faster than the numbers say it should. Watch for the idea that comes to you in an ordinary hour and turns out to carry your increase inside it. When these things unfold, do not call them luck. Call them by their name, faithfulness. The second locked door is companionship. This lock has been the most painful because it made you conclude that the problem was you. You attracted takers and repelled the steady ones, or so it seemed. You sat in gatherings and felt like a stranger at your own table. You know how to be alone in a crowded room. That is a skill no one should have to learn as well as you learned it. Here is what was true behind the veil. Some of that isolation was protection. There were bonds that looked appealing which would have chained you to smallness, and I kept them from closing around you. And some of the loneliness was seasonal, the emptiness of a field between plantings. The field is not barren. It was resting before the seed. Now I am sending companions suited to who you are becoming, not who you were. They will recognize you quickly. There will be an ease in their presence that you stop believing was possible. They will speak to the strength in you rather than feeding on it. And when they come, receive them without suspicion. Not everyone carries a hidden knife. The ones I send carry bread, but make room. This is your part at the second door. There are connections in your life that empty you by the hour, voices that leave you smaller after every conversation. I am not asking you to hate anyone. I am asking you to stop watering what I have uprooted. Release what drains you gently and without drama, and the vacancy will fill with what I have prepared. A hand that clutches old stones cannot close around new treasure. The third locked door is purpose, and this is the lock the enemy defended most fiercely. You have felt it your whole life. The sense of being made for something you could not name. It visited you at odd moments in the middle of ordinary work. A homesickness for a place you have never been. Then it faded, and the fading hurt worse than the longing. You concluded you were foolish to want more. You were not foolish. That longing was the compass needle of your calling. trembling toward its true north. The lock on this door was never able to remove your purpose. It could only delay your entrance. And a delayed entrance, my child, often means a grander room. Moses carried his calling 40 years in a wilderness before the bush burned. The calling did not expire in the desert. It matured there. The man who finally stood before Pharaoh could not have stood there at 20, full of his own strength. What you call your wasted years were the slow forging of a person who can carry weight without being crushed by it. So the third door is opening now, and this is how you will know. Assignments will find you. Needs will rise in front of you that match the exact shape of your gifting, as a lock matches its key. You will do something that feels almost easy, and others will call it remarkable. Pay attention when that happens. Ease plus fruitfulness is one of the clearest signs that you are standing inside your design. And do not assume your assignment must look grand to be great. Some callings stand before multitudes. Most stand in doorways, kitchens, workrooms, and quiet conversations at the right hour. A single sentence spoken to the right soul at the right moment can outweigh years of applause. I measure greatness by obedience and by love, not by audience. If I hand you something that looks small, handle it as holy anyway. Small in your eyes has never once meant small in mine. Do not demand the whole blueprint at once. I do not hand out complete maps because a person with a map stops holding the guide's hand. I will give you the next step and light enough for it. When you take it, the step after that will appear. This is how the whole road will unfold. One obedience at a time until you look back astonished at the distance covered. 3 doors, 1 key. The key has never been your effort, your connections, or your flawless record. The key is trust, turned by the hand of the one who owns the house. You have spent years studying the locks. Lift your eyes now to the locksmith. The scraping sound you hear in your spirit today is real. It is the sound of things opening that no man will be able to shut. Hear now what I am releasing, because the opening of doors is only the beginning. A door is an invitation. What passes through it is the inheritance, and I am sending through those open doors 4 things: healing, restoration, favor, and peace. Listen closely to each because you will want to recognize them when they arrive. First, healing. I am speaking to your body, the faithful servant that has carried you through every one of these years and absorbed the cost of every worry. Stress has taxed it. Grief has taken up residence in its muscles and its sleep. Some of what troubles your flesh began in your sorrows, and as I heal the sorrow, the body will follow. I am also speaking to conditions that have resisted every remedy. I made every fiber of you, and nothing in you is beyond my reach. Strength you assumed was gone, for good will begin returning in quiet increments. You will notice one day that you climbed the stairs without the old heaviness, that you slept through the night, that the ache you had accepted as permanent has grown strangely quiet. Receive these as what they are. My hand at work in your frame, and healing is more than the body. There are rooms in your memory you have kept locked, because entering them costs too much. I do not heal by erasing. I heal by entering those rooms with you, until you can stand in them without bleeding. The day is coming when you will tell of your worst season with steadiness in your voice. Not because it stopped mattering, but because it stopped ruling. Second, restoration. Someone who walked out of your story is going to reach back toward it. An apology you stopped waiting for is being formed in a heart that has finally seen its own fault. When it comes, you will have a choice, and I will help you make it wisely, because restoration is not the same as returning to what harmed you. Understand this clearly. Not every broken bond is meant to be rebuilt. Some endings were my mercy, and reopening them would only reopen wounds. But the bonds I ordained, the ones threaded with purpose, those I will mend, and the mended bond will hold more weight than the original. Trust me to sort the one from the other. I have never confused the two. Third, favor. This one you will notice in the response of the world around you. Places that dismissed you will reconsider. People in authority will look at you twice, and the second look will hold something new. Answers that used to be no will soften into yes. and you will not be able to point to anything you did differently. That is the mark of favor. Outcomes that outrun explanations. Favor is not fairness. Fairness gives you what you earned. Favor gives you what I decree. Joseph earned a prison sentence he did not deserve, and favor made him governor in an afternoon. One day of favor can repay years of unfairness, and I specialize in exactly that arithmetic. Do not spend the coming season keeping score against the past. The repayment will not come from the people who owe you. It will come from me, and my rates are generous. Fourth, peace. Not the fragile pause between problems that the world calls peace, but the settled deep that holds even while storms argue overhead. This peace does not wait for circumstances to improve. It moves in first and renovates from within. You will feel it as a strange calm in situations that used to unravel you completely. Others will notice it before you do. They will ask what changed, and you will find you cannot fully explain it. That is how you will know it came from me, because you did not build it. Now a word about how these 4 gifts travel. They rarely arrive with trumpets. Heaven's deliveries are usually quiet at the door. A conversation that turns unexpectedly warm. A letter with news you did not dare expect. A morning when the dread is simply absent. The proud miss their miracles waiting for spectacle. Be the one who recognizes me in the ordinary envelope. And a word about timing. These releases have already left the storehouse. Some are close. Some are routed through events that have not yet happened, and a few are being held back by nothing except the readiness of other people. I am still moving into position. Do not interpret the interval as refusal. A ship already launched is not a ship denied, even while it is still out of sight of the harbor. While you wait for what is in transit, steward what has landed. Thank me for the first small signs instead of holding your gratitude hostage until the full sum arrives. Gratitude is not merely politeness. It is the acknowledgement that widens the channel. The one who is faithful over little is the one to whom much can be safely sent, and I am watching how you handle the first fruits. There is one more gift folded inside the other 4, and it may be the greatest. As healing, restoration, favor, and peace do their work, you will begin to like the person you are becoming. The self-reproach that hummed beneath your days will fade. You will catch your reflection in a window and not flinch. My beloved, I have waited a long time for you to see what I see. That sight is part of the inheritance, too. Now stay with me because I must prepare you for what comes next, and not all of it will be gentle. Great releases attract great resistance, and I want you armed before it arrives. What I have released you must now walk in, and walking requires instruction. Heaven has done what only heaven can do. There remains a part that belongs to you, and I will not insult you by pretending otherwise. Grace is free, but it is not passive. The sea parted for Israel, yet they still had to march across the floor of it. The first instruction is this: move before you see. Faith that waits for proof is not faith. It is spectating. Abraham packed and left for a land he could not have found on any map of his own making. Peter put his weight on water while the water was still behaving like water. The promise I have spoken over you will meet you in motion. Take the step you have been postponing. The conversation, the beginning, the request, the risk. Small is fine. Delayed is not. The second instruction: govern your mouth. Your words are not commentary on your life. They are agents in it. Out of the same mouth can come agreement with my promise or agreement with your fear, and whichever you speak, you strengthen. From this day let your speech take my side. When lack shouts, answer with provision. When dread mutters, answer with my record which is long and unbroken. I am not asking you to deny difficulty. I am asking you to stop prophesying against yourself. The third instruction: guard what you take in. You have a gate and you are its keeper. Voices of despair will ask to lodge in your thoughts. Some from ill-meaning people, some from the general noise of a fearful world. You cannot silence the noise, but you decide what gets a room for the night. Fill your inner house with what is true, noble, and full of hope. A mind fed on fear will starve the strongest faith. A mind fed on truth becomes very hard to defeat. The fourth instruction: Keep the conversation open between us, not ceremony, conversation. Speak to me while you work, while you walk, while you wait in the tedious middle of ordinary days. Bring me the small things. Nothing that concerns you is beneath me. Prayer is not a lever you pull to extract outcomes. It is the current that keeps your heart in my presence, and hearts kept in my presence do not easily lose their way. Now I must speak plainly about resistance because I warn those I love. When a captive is set free, the captor notices. As my releases unfold in your life, opposition will make an appearance. Expect discouragement to arrive, wearing familiar faces. Some who question your hope, some who mock it, some whose doubt sounds almost reasonable. Expect small crises timed with strange precision, disruptions that seem designed to fall on the eve of your progress. They are designed. That is exactly the point. Do not be alarmed by any of this, and do not read it as evidence that the promise failed. Read it correctly. Thieves do not gather at empty houses. The intensity of the interference is a measure of the value of what you now carry. When the resistance comes, it is not a sign that you took a wrong turn. It is often the clearest sign that you took the right one. And remember who stands with you in it. I have set a hedge around you that was not voted on and cannot be lobbied. No weapon formed against you will prosper. Formed, yes. Prosper, no. Schemes will be drafted and will die in the drafting. Words will be spoken against you and will fall to the ground without a harvest. Your part in the battle is smaller than you think. Stand firm, keep your peace, and refuse to hand over your confidence. The rest of the war is mine, and I have never lost. Let me also warn you about a subtler enemy than any attack. The drift back to old patterns. After enough years, even a cage can feel like shelter. And there will be moments when the new territory feels so unfamiliar that the old smallness whispers an invitation home. Do not accept it. Lot's wife looked back at a burning past and became a monument to hesitation. Set your eyes forward. The unfamiliar is not the unsafe. It is simply the shape of a future you have not memorized yet. Practice expectation as a discipline. Rise in the morning with the assumption that I am already at work in the day ahead of you. Expectation is not arrogance. It is the posture of a child who knows the character of the Father. Those who expect nothing sleep through their own answered prayers. Those who watch see. I would have you among the watchers. Practice gratitude the same way, especially on the days when evidence is thin. Thank me in advance the way farmers thank the sky before the rain, because they know the season even when the ground is still dry. Gratitude spoken before the answer is the highest compliment faith can pay. It tells heaven you trust the character of the promiser more than you need the sight of the promise. And practice rest. This one will surprise you, but hear it. Exhaustion is not a badge of faithfulness. I built rest into the rhythm of creation itself, and I did not exempt you from it. Some of what you call anxiety is simply weariness wearing a costume. Sleep without guilt. Be still without earning it. The work that matters most in your life right now is work only I can do, and I do not require your worry as a contribution. One more instruction, and it may be the hardest. Forgive not because they deserve it. Some do not. Not because the wound was small, it was not. Forgive because unforgiveness is a chain with one end around your own wrist, and everything I am leading you toward requires your hands free. You do not have to trust them again. You do not have to explain it to anyone. Just hand me the debt and let me be the judge I have always been. The moment you release it, you will feel the difference in your steps. These are your orders for the season, and none of them is beyond you. Move before you see. Speak life. Guard the gate. Stay in conversation with me. Stand when resistance comes. Look forward. Expect, give thanks, rest, and forgive. Do these and the releases I have spoken will not merely visit your life. They will settle in it and build. Now lift your head because I am about to close this word the way a king closes a decree with a seal and assent. Everything I have spoken over you in this hour is now in motion. The doors are opening. The releases are in transit. The accuser's verdict is overturned. What remains is for you to cross the threshold, and I will not send you across it empty-handed or alone. In the days just ahead, watch for the first sign. I tell you this so that when it comes, you will not explain it away. It may be modest, a message from an unexpected quarter, a kindness with no visible cause, a provision that arrives sideways through a door you were not watching. The first sign is rarely the largest. It is the handshake before the covenant. My way of saying you heard correctly. After the first sign, confirmations will begin to gather. Different voices will say the same thing to you without knowing each other. Circumstances will rhyme with what I have spoken here. You will open the scriptures at random and find them oddly specific to your situation. When it happens once, you may call it chance. When it keeps happening, call it what it is. A father making himself unmistakable to a child he is leading somewhere new. Then will come the season of building, and I want you sober about it. New seasons are not endless mornings. There will still be work, still be weather, still be days that feel like the old days. The difference is not that difficulty vanishes. The difference is the difficulty stops being in charge. You will meet obstacles as a person under assignment meets them, as things to be moved through, not verdicts to live under. That shift, quiet as it sounds, changes everything it touches. As you walk, remember that you are becoming an answer to other people's prayers. This is part of the purpose I unlocked. Near you this very week is someone standing where you stood, worn thin, wondering if anyone sees, close to setting the whole thing down. You will recognize the look because you wore it. When you do, speak. Tell them the night ends. Tell them what you know now from the inside. Comfort travels with a special authority when it comes from someone who needed it first, and I am entrusting you with that authority. Do not underestimate what your endurance has already preached. People watched you go through what should have leveled you, and they watched you still be standing on the other side. Some of them drew conclusions about me from the way you survived. You were a letter you did not know you were writing. In the season ahead, I will let you read some of the replies and hear this about the ones you love, the ones you have carried in prayer through all these years. I have not been idly listening to those prayers. I have been working in lives you cannot supervise, softening ground you cannot reach, arranging encounters you could not engineer. Some of the answers will surface in the season ahead, and a few will astonish you. Keep carrying them. No prayer offered in love is ever wasted labor. Let me also settle you about the past one final time. You will be tempted, even in the good days ahead, to grieve the years the locks were on the doors. When that grief comes, bring it to me. But do not let it write the story. I am the God who restores what was eaten and repays what was stolen. And my restorations are not refunds. They are multiplications. The years ahead of you can hold more than the years behind you lost. Believe that. And the past loses its power to tax the future. Now receive my blessing because I do not end this word with instructions. I end it with benediction. I bless the work of your hands. May it prosper past explanation. I bless your going out and your coming in. May every road rise to meet your assignment. I bless your table. May it never lack bread, and may it always have room for the guest I send. I bless your sleep. May it be deep, and may your waking thoughts reach for me before they reach for worry. I bless your eyes that they may recognize my hand quickly. I bless your ears that my voice would stand out from the noise all your days. I bless your heart, the brave, patched, persistent heart that kept beating hope when hope was expensive. It will not be put to shame, and I bless the ones you love. May the goodness that finds you overflow its banks and water every life joined to yours. Carry this hour with you. When the old heaviness attempts a return, come back to what I have said and read it aloud to your own soul. The way David strengthened himself in me when everything at Ziklag was ashes. A word from me doesn't expire between hearings. It will be as alive next month as it is this moment because I do not speak in fading ink. And remember, above every promise, the promiser more than the open doors I give you myself. I am with you when the signs are frequent, and with you in the quiet stretches between them. I am with you in the room where you pray, and in the rooms where you forget to. There is no hour of your future that I have not already entered ahead of you, and no future hour where you will look for me and find me absent. You came to this moment carrying questions, and I have answered the deepest one. You were never forgotten. You were being kept, prepared, and positioned, and the keeping is complete. The season of the locked doors is behind you. The season of the open ones has begun. Walk into it the way loved people walk, unhurried, unafraid, and sure of the arm beside them. Go now with my peace resting on you like a garment. Go with my favor moving ahead of you into every room. Go with my word alive in your chest, and let it be louder than every voice that ever told you less. I have loved you with an everlasting love, and everlasting means this day and tomorrow, and every step of the long bright road I have prepared. This is my word over you, and it will not return to me empty. It will accomplish everything I sent it to do in your life. I have spoken, and heaven stands behind every syllable. The rest of your story starts now, and I am in it from this line to the last.